Some friends of mine from a translation group invited me to see their country for Christmas, and, well, a year later, you can see how well that turned out. But Christmas has come back again. It's already next week, and I think I finally have time to make the video I originally came here to make. I had the extreme honor and pleasure to spend New Year's Eve with a Russian family in Ryazan Oblast. And I'm not using any hyperbole when I say it's one of the most impactful experiences of my life.
Тебя я люблю, а снег идет, а снег идет по щекам мне.
I first came to Russia on New Year's Eve 2021 through Finland since the prices were insanely cheap. But in hindsight, I paid a higher price because during my first connecting flight, an old woman had a heart problem in the air and the flight had to be rerouted to a nearby airport. But for us, that wasn't the end of it getting worse. Because of that connection, my bags got lost. And inside those bags were all of my winter gear. So you can imagine my panic. I'm going to Moscow for the first time in the dead of winter with no coats, no jackets, or really anything beyond the clothes I had on my back. And that's when my friend at the airport showed me the first kindness that made me fall in love with this country. Without me knowing it, she bought me a full set of winter clothes so when I arrived, I wouldn't be cold. In fact, I still have those old boots. I just don't have the heart to throw them away. Maybe someday there'll be another person who could use this kindness, so I'll just save it for them. She got me to her car and we listened to American and Russian classic holiday music for the entire 5-hour drive through the oil fields to Ryazan, where her family lives. Now this wasn't in Ryazan proper, this was in a small village outside of Ryazan because most Russians have these second homes, they're called dachas. And it's where they grow all their produce and they spend all their major holidays. And with no holiday being bigger than New Year's in Russia, I was honored that they would invite me to their home during this auspicious occasion. Knowing how much of a pain it would be to have a stranger in their house, I bought everyone gifts from America as sort of a sign of goodwill. Over the time I spent working with her, I knew her family didn't always have a positive idea of Americans. So I wanted to bring something, some goodwill gift from my homeland to theirs. But all of those gifts that I brought, they got lost in my bags during the connection. So let me frame this. I'm showing up, a complete stranger, from what they grew up thinking was the enemy of their country. I'm sweaty, I'm unshowered, I'm exhausted. I don't speak a word of their language. And I'm wearing dollar store boots and a sweater to their family gathering. I expected them to be cold, to be sarcastic, and you know what they did? They met me at the door with the very clothes off their backs. I'm not kidding you. They gave me their dad's personal jacket, their uncle's pants, his hat, and a pair of wool socks. They didn't have some big monologue in their head like I was trying to chime up. They just yelled out, "Hey, Chad." And with a huge smile, they hugged me like I was a long-lost member of their tribe. This was the second kindness that made me fall in love with this country. That night, everyone drank to my journeys, they taught me games and songs, and I played some American music for them on the guitar. We had a feast of foods that I still can't explain exactly what they all were, and they kept feeding me well beyond me being full. They would not let me say no, and any time that my plate was empty, they would constantly reach over and fill it. I never once felt foreign with them, even though I couldn't understand them at all. And it was explained to me that this table is, frankly, as diverse as I was. There was Horshit, who's from Uzbekistan and made baked goat for everyone. Sasha's from Ukraine and works in the oil fields that we drove through. He caught the fish that we pickled and ate and invited me actually to go ice fishing the next day. Everyone there has blood from Russia, Ukraine, Poland, as well as natives in the Far East. Yet at this table, everyone was their comrade. Everyone was their friend. There's something about that still impacts me even reading this script I wrote. After that, they invited us to go shoot off their fireworks, which went about as beautifully, heroically, and chaotically as my entire trip so far. Oh shoot! Oh god, it's so low! god. Whoa. Oh my god. And that new life began the next morning because we got invited by the children to go to the local village sledding hills together. Now these kids I still consider my friends and I see them from time to time. But at the time we couldn't understand each other at all. And yet the language of screaming with joy flying down a big hill is pretty universal. Well, the hill size is pretty relative, but the screaming is universal.
Ногами не тормозите.
Олеся, ноги выше!
Она поджимает.
Олеся начинает сразу тормозить это. Ноги перебиваются. Нельзя так.
Андрюша. Я за ребенка волновался.
Стою и жду тебя, как дура. Снежинки ртом ловила. Очень мило, клёвый вечер. Делать нечего там, где нет тебя. А снег идёт.
I normally edit out my bloopers pretty well, but because it's the holidays, enjoy this footage of me getting absolutely destroyed in 240 frames per second. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Всё равно смотрела в окна, может, увижу тебя. А снег идет по щекам мне, бьет, болею очень. Температура, стою и жду тебя, как дура. Снежинки ртом ловила. Очень мило, клёвый вечер. Делать нечего там, где нет тебя. А снег идет.